Bayan, but also shows how these ulum have become isolated and compartmentalized. This is a quote. Ibn Khaldun's Muqaddimah also connects linguistic ulum covering lexicology, grammar, rhetoric and literature. According to Balbaki, I quote, even before Sakaki, the trend was obviously to treat these ulum as independent, though related fields of investigation. Quote closed. Arabic grammatical tradition, though spatially and temporally separated, it contains certain traits of similarity that can be traced in both the Indian and Arabic tradition. Like the sacred texts, Quran also gave rise to a tradition of linguistic exegesis and commentary, which marked the culmination of Arabic grammatical tradition at the end of the 8th century. Sibawayh's Al-Kitab provides description of Arabic based on the text of the Quran, the unattainable paragon of the art of language which has to be recited absolutely correctly, and the ancient Arabic poetry. Both of them placed emphasis on the study of words, and their scholarship to the study of language sciences was acknowledged as superior to the Western grammatical tradition in respect to phonetics, as they were successful in providing classification and description in terms of articulations. Their concern with the sacred texts was not just with a view to preserving the linguistic sanctity, but in a way to provide elaborate and rich description of use of language in the realm of poetics and rhetoric, in which the Arabs were much far ahead. Independently, they both studied the common language of the day. Hence, one of the sources of Al-Kitab was the ordinary speech of some native speakers, referred to as Al-Arab, who were Bedouins from various tribes living around Basra and spoke dialects of the old Arabic type. Both always believed in the recognition and rules of recitation called tajweed. They shared a common concern with the preservation of the text, correct pronunciation. It is generally considered in Arab tradition that Abul Aswad al-Du'ali, who has been the originator of Arabic natural grammar, according to one tradition of Abul Aswad gathered the notion of errors of his speech called lahan from the company of Hazrat Ali, as he was his faithful supporter. Lahan has been defined as a melody in which is noticeable the deviation from the normal pitch when singing. We might consign this tradition to the realm of legend. The importance of the notion of lahan cannot be undermined. It is this concept that evokes sense of mistakes by grammatical error that presupposes an understanding of correct speech of the kind that had been found among the Indian antiquity as well. The superiority of the Indian grammatical tradition over the Western grammatical theory with respect to the study of phonetics has prompted some scholars, the Arabicists, to suggest that there has been the Indian connection in Arabic theories. I quote Denechki here, who pointed out that, and I quote, there are a number of parallel phenomena in description of articulatory processes to be observed, and if one considers the whole system of Indian and Arabic phonetics, no doubt should arise about the dependence of the Arabic teachings upon the Indians. Quote closed. However, there are strong linguistic factors which raise doubts over the Indian influence on the Arabic phonetics. The most serious being their observational failure to distinguish between voiceless consonants. Although the Arabs treated the division of the consonants into two classes as important, and they had correctly assigned the consonants to them, they had failed to diagnose the mechanics of the voiceless distinction in the consonants. There is yet another argument to the dimension suggesting that Arabic grammatical tradition grew separately and independently from the Indian grammatical tradition, and that is with regard to the phonetic description of Arabic script. With regard to the origin of Indian alphabet, Bhandarkar, a famous Orientalist, he traces the genesis of the two different scripts, lipis, found in the earliest inscriptions in India, the Brahmi and Kharoshthi, and argues that out of the three prominent theories, it is the theory that traces the Semitic origin, which is the accepted doctrine of all experts in Indian paleography. According to Bhandarkar, and I quote him, the argument that the ancient alphabet of India always ran from left to right, which was urged by Cunningham and Thomas against its foreign origin, was completely demolished by the evidence adduced by Buehler and Vikram Singhe, the learned editor of Epigraphia Zelenichak. Quote closed. I conclude my keynote by endorsing what we had a conversation before the beginning of the seminar, which was Bali, and what the Vice Chancellor also talked about it right now. There is a need to have a collaborative effort between linguistics, Arabic and Sanskrit. Unfortunately, we have not really been able to strike at this collaboration. There is much that can be really done. We have a background which is a background of linguistics. We do not have a background of Arabic. We do not have a background of Sanskrit. But if we all collaborate together, and Aligarh is very fortunate to have three well-established departments, linguistics, Arabic and Sanskrit. And there is no reason why there cannot be a meaningful interaction between these scholars. From a broad perspective, language study relates itself to both ontology and epistemology. Both ontological and epistemological investigations have been the subject of debate and discussion in different civilizations, producing a number of grammatical traditions other than the West. Arab, China, India and the Near East can all boast of language traditions of greater antiquity. In terms of richness of insight and comprehensiveness of scope, both India and the Arab compete on equal terms with the West, where each grew independently of the others and for the most part developed separately, drawing on the resources of the culture within which it grew. Hence, there is a strong need to have a study of comparative grammatical theory, to which Indian, Arabs and Chinese also belong, centering on the question of what has been the importance of these theories for the understanding of modern linguistics, for the understanding of literature, for the understanding of poetics. To what extent do common descriptive and explanatory categories appear in historically unrelated linguistic theory, and if they do so, why? This perspective would bring new dimension to the study of linguistic theory and its application to the study of language and literature of both the civilization, and would not only remain at the level of redressing the overwhelming emphasis on the European tradition in the study of history of languages. The Greco-Roman tradition, which gave rise to modern Western linguistics, is only one of the several independent traditions of language study known to have existed, but according to Vivian Law, whom I am quoting, it is by no means the most ancient, nor necessarily the most varied or subtle in its understanding of language. Thank you very much.